Hello everyone, this is Rachel Bloom and I'm going to be talking to you about using Microsoft Excel to create metadata. So let's go ahead and get started. In this first row here, you're going to add in your chosen metadata fields by simply clicking into a cell and starting to type. It's also common to bold this top row so you can distinguish between your fields and your actual items. So to do that, you're just going to go ahead and click over here on the 1 until your cursor becomes an arrow. So you can select this entire row and bold it. And now let's create a fictitious entry. And you're going to treat each row here as a particular item, one item, entering the appropriate metadata all the way across. This could also be pages, just depends on what type of project you're working on. Let's say that this is a photograph collection. For your keywords and subjects, you're going to go ahead and add a semicolon in between each entry. One quick tip that's really important about Microsoft Excel is that unlike Word, it is not going to automatically show you any spelling errors. There is no red squiggly line that's going to appear. In order to check that, you need to come up here to the Review tab and just click on Spelling. And that's really important when you want to keep things consistent. The next thing I want to show you is about date, and you will see why. Because for our metadata standards, we have a very particular format for our dates, it can be tricky when you're trying to add in and keep true to that formatting when you're using Excel. You'll see now if you watch my format as I click out, Excel's going to automatically change that formatting. So in order to combat that, you're going to go ahead and click up here in the column title until your cursor becomes an arrow once again to select this whole column so that we can remedy this issue for all the metadata that you might add in. And you're going to go up to the Numbers section. Click down on this arrow where it says General and select Text. And that's going to say just treat this as plain text. Now, one other thing that is really useful when you're adding metadata in Excel is the copy down feature. And that's useful if it's something like this where everything in this collection or many things are photographs. It's a quick way to just copy this down. So just click in this cell to select it and then click and drag this little square box and plus sign down. And that's just going to copy all the information down. And we'll do it all here so that you can just get an idea of what the metadata will look like when it's more filled out. Once again, however, date is going to be a bit of an issue. So as you'll see when I copy this down, Excel is going to automatically start to fill this in as a series. That's how they say it, but really it just means it's going to number this instead of copying it. So you want to keep it selected and click here, the square down at the bottom, and click into Copy Cells instead of Fill Series. and that fixes that problem. You'll also want to come down here, somewhere towards the bottom, and just add in a small section for you to add any type of updates that you do as time goes on, so that anyone else looking at this metadata sheet can stay updated. So let's say that on December 1st, the following year, I updated date formats. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you is that there's a couple features that can help streamline your work when you're adding in metadata or when you're performing quality control checks. One of those is in Find It and Replace. That's here on the Home tab, all the way at the end, and then to Replace. What's useful about this is if there's any discrepancies somewhere, say there was an inconsistency in capitalization, I can come here and say find all of the word public that's capitalized and replace it with a lowercase p. Just say replace all, and it will quickly remedy the issue for me. Find is also really useful if you can imagine this sheet getting filled quite heavily with a lot of metadata entries. You can use Find to quickly search for a particular item that you might want to update or change. So that's the last thing that I have to show you. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you next time with a new tutorial.